Your child points at the juice box. You hand it to them before they say a word. It feels like love because it is love. But speech therapists have a name for what's actually happening in that moment. And it might be the number one reason loving, attentive parents accidentally delay their child's speech. Stick around, because in the next few minutes I'm going to show you exactly what this habit looks like, why even the best parents fall into it, and 5 simple things you can start doing tonight to fix it. Before we dive in, I want to be clear about something. This video isn't about blaming parents. Every single example I'm about to show you comes from a happy, loving, engaged household. I've spent weeks going through speech-language pathology research, early childhood development studies, and real case notes from therapists who specialize in toddler language delays. And the pattern that kept showing up wasn't neglect. It wasn't screen time, although that matters too. It was something quieter, something that happens in homes where parents are actually paying close attention to their kids. That's what makes it so sneaky. Let me introduce you to a mom I'll call Sarah. Sarah is the kind of parent every pediatrician dreams of. She reads to her 2-year-old son, Eli, every night. She narrates the grocery store. She's warm, present, and endlessly patient. But by the time Eli turned 2.5, he had maybe 15 words. His pediatrician wasn't alarmed yet, but Sarah felt something was off. Here's what a typical morning looked like. Eli would wake up, walk to the fridge, and pat it twice. Sarah, without missing a beat, would open the fridge and ask, "Milk?" Eli would nod, and she'd pour it. No words needed. He'd tap his shoe, and she'd tie it. He'd whine near the toy bin, and she'd hand him the truck he always wanted. Every need Eli had was met almost before he registered wanting it. Sarah wasn't doing anything wrong on the surface. She was being a wonderful, responsive mother. But she was also, without knowing it, closing every single door that would have required Eli to use his words. Naming the habit. Speech-language pathologists sometimes call this anticipatory parenting or overaccommodation. It's when a parent becomes so skilled at reading a child's cues, the point, the whine, the tug on a sleeve, that the parent starts responding before the child ever has to communicate anything. Think about it from a 2-year-old's perspective. Why would you go through the effort of forming a word, pushing air through your vocal cords, and coordinating over 70 muscles just to say milk, when a pat on the fridge gets you the exact same result? Speech isn't just about ability. It's about necessity. Kids learn to talk because talking works, because it gets them something words alone can get them. And in a home where every need is anticipated and met silently, that necessity quietly disappears. And here's the part that surprised even me. This habit is actually more common in first-time parents and only children, and I'll explain exactly why in a minute. But first, let's look at what the science actually says, because this isn't just a theory. The science behind it. In the 1990s, researchers Betty Hart and Todd Risley ran one of the most influential studies in early language development. They followed families for years and recorded the actual number of words spoken to children in their homes. What they found became known as the word gap. Children in some households heard tens of millions more words by age than children in others, and that gap strongly predicted vocabulary and academic outcomes years later. But here's the detail that gets left out of most parenting articles. It wasn't just about how many words parents said. It was about how many back-and-forth exchanges happened. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child later built on this with a concept called serve and return. The idea that a child's brain develops best not from words poured onto them, but from a genuine exchange. The child does something, the caregiver responds, and the child responds again. It's like a tennis rally. When a parent anticipates and fulfills a need before the child serves anything, there's no rally. There's no exchange. The brain doesn't get the repetition it needs to wire language pathways efficiently. This is also backed by simple wait time research. Studies on early communication intervention consistently show that when adults pause for just 3 to 5 extra seconds after a child shows interest in something, children are significantly more likely to attempt a word, a sound, or a gesture on their own. So if pausing for a few seconds can make that much difference, imagine what changes when you do this consistently, every single day, for weeks. I'll show you exactly how in the solutions section. But first, let's talk about why this habit is so hard to break, even when you know about it. Why loving parents fall into this? Here's the honest truth. Anticipatory parenting doesn't come from a lack of knowledge. It comes from love, empathy, and efficiency. When you love your child deeply, you become fluent in their unspoken language. You know that specific whine means they're overtired. You know that particular point means the blue cup, not the red one. Being that attuned feels like good parenting, and in many ways it is. The problem isn't the attunement. The problem is what you do with it. Most parents use that knowledge to solve the moment as fast as possible. Attuned parents can use that same knowledge to create a tiny gap, a space where the child is invited, not forced, to fill it with a sound, a word, or a gesture. That shift from, I know what you want so I'll get it, to, I know what you want so I'll wait and invite you to ask, is the entire fix. It sounds small. It is not small. Let's go back to Sarah and Eli. After a speech-language pathologist observed one of their mornings, she pointed out something Sarah had never noticed. In 20 minutes, Eli had made 12 requests using gestures alone, and Sarah had fulfilled every single one within 2 to 3 seconds. The therapist gave her one instruction: wait 5 seconds before responding to any gesture and hold the item slightly out of reach while looking at Eli with an expectant, warm expression. The first day was hard. Eli got frustrated. He cried once. But by day 4, something shifted. He started saying "ma" for milk. By week 3, it was milk clearly. By month 2, he was stringing 2 words together. Nothing else in the house changed. Same toys, same routine, same loving mother. The only difference was that 5-second pause. I want to know, have you ever caught yourself answering your child's needs before they even asked? Drop a comment below and tell me what that looked like in your house, because I promise you're not alone. Alright, let's get practical. Here are 5 specific things you can start doing tonight, straight from speech-language pathology techniques. Step 1. Build in the pause. Whenever your child gestures, points, or whines for something, count to 5 in your head before responding. Not longer. 5 seconds is enough to create opportunity without creating distress. Step 2. Get face-to-face. When you pause, get down to your child's eye level. This is called joint attention, and it signals to your child that you're waiting for them, which encourages them to look at you and attempt to communicate. Step 3. Model, then wait again. If your child doesn't attempt anything after 5 seconds, say the word simply, milk, then pause again for another 5 seconds before handing it over. You're not demanding they repeat it. You're just showing them the word exists and giving them one more chance to try it. Step 4. Create small, safe obstacles. This is a technique therapists call communicative temptation. Put a favorite snack in a clear container your child can see, but can't open. Give them 2 options instead of handing over the obvious one. Leave a toy just slightly out of reach. These aren't cruel. They're tiny invitations for your child to use words, sounds, or gestures to problem solve with you. Step 5. Celebrate every attempt, not just perfect words. If your child says "ma" instead of "milk," respond with genuine excitement and expand it naturally. "Ma, yes, milk. Here's your milk." This tells your child that trying to communicate is always worth it, even before they get it exactly right. Now, I know what some of you are thinking: what if my child gets frustrated during that pause? That's actually a really important question, and the answer might surprise you. A small amount of frustration is not harmful. It's actually part of how motivation for language develops. The goal isn't to withhold things and watch your child struggle. The goal is a 5-second window, done with warmth, eye contact, and a smile, not silence and distance. If your child is truly distressed, you can always help them. But give that 5-second window a real chance before you step in, because that tiny gap is where language grows. Busting the myth. Let's clear up the myth this whole video is built around, because I think it's important to say directly. Being a highly responsive, attentive parent does not cause speech delays. Responsiveness is one of the best predictors of healthy language development that exists in the research. The myth is that responsiveness means immediate fulfillment. It doesn't. True responsiveness means noticing what your child wants and creating space for them to reach for it with you, instead of doing it for them. Loving families don't need to talk less or care less. They need to pause more. So, let's bring this all together. The habit is anticipatory parenting, meeting your child's needs before they ever have to ask. The reason it delays speech isn't a mystery. It removes the necessity that drives kids to use words in the first place, and it breaks the serve and return exchange that builds language pathways in the brain. And the fix is 5 simple habits. Pause for 5 seconds, get face-to-face, model the word, create small communicative temptations, and celebrate every attempt. None of this requires flashcards, apps, or expensive therapy. It requires one thing, a 5-second gap, held with love. If this video helped you see something new about your own home, hit like so more parents can find it. This channel exists because of shares like that. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week I'm covering the 3 phrases speech therapists say you should stop using immediately and why they might be working against you. And before you go, I really want to hear from you. What's one thing you're going to try differently tonight? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I might feature your story in a future video. Until next time, keep talking, keep pausing, and keep showing up. That's more than enough.